have actually two series, sir. One is the Educator Speak and another is the Express with History segment, sir. In the Educator Speak, basically we talk about the different topics of great importance that require immediate attention. So we talked about, we had a discussion about the Olympics, like how schools and colleges can create more Olympics, and about the college sensitizing, how colleges can sensitize the importance of students. So all this we discussed. And in the students part, we had this Pegasus discussion, and we have this NEET, flag, and AEE discussions about this. So in the exercise, this segment, we basically call up the students from different colleges and universities. And the educators part, we basically call up counselors, educators.
So we have 5 participants, and one of them is already saying hi, Akshay Patel. Hi, Akshay.
Yes.
So tell me when to start, and I'm okay with it.
Sure, sure. Yes, sir. All right. All set, sir? Sure, sir. Cool, sir. Hello everyone. Welcome to yet another episode of Educator Speak segment on VUTV by Vijay Bhumi. It's a special weekly episodic segment where we discuss about topics of great importance and that require immediate attention with educators. Today being no different, we are going to discuss about the importance of AI for all. So AI for all is an initiative by Intel in association with CBSE and Ministry of Education. We are going to understand the workings of AI and how it affects humanity to leverage its power. We have called upon Dr. Venkatesh Sunkad. He holds over 20 plus years of experience in telecom, cable, wireless, and IoT industry. He's currently working as the mentor and dean at new product development at INSOFE. He's also being appointed as the dean for INSOFE School of Data Science at Vijay Bhumi University. He works on IoT and Industry 4.0. His responsibilities include training, consultancy, and helping industries and businesses in various technology and strategy challenging areas. He's worked in top managerial and academic positions across the globe. Thanks for joining, sir. It is glad to host you today for this session, sir.
Thank you very much, Ashwin. In fact, it is a pleasure being here. In fact, I would like to thank both Vijay Bhumi University and also VUTV for giving me this opportunity. And I hope the next hour would be a very fruitful discussion on a very important topic called AI for all. And I hope all of us, will sort of gain a little bit on it. So thank you very much for inviting.
Thank you, sir. So today we are going to discuss about the AI for initiative and also the know-hows about the AI technology. So the viewers who are joining, I would request you to please put down your questions on the question and answer box. We will be taking over all of your questions at the end of the session. And also those who have connected on us on our different social media channels, please put down your questions on your live comments. We'll be also capturing that and we will be taking that questions at the end of the session. So make sure you make this session more interactive and more valuable for yourself. So starting with us, sir, I would like, so we would like that you give us a brief about what exactly is AI technology, and for you can explain us how AI in layman terms, sir. What
Sure.
exactly is AI in layman terms?
Fantastic. So thank you very much. And it's a very, very important question.
Yes.
The aspect of AI is something that all of us have heard about it, right? So this is not something that is a term that has been everybody hearing it. And so it is a very important to sort of understand what AI is, what AI can do. And so the way I put AI, and this is the way I understand AI is, AI basically, first of all, AI stands for artificial intelligence. I'm sure all of you know about it. There are other, the way I see it is slightly differently. I will talk about it in the, in our discussion today. But AI, first of all, stands for artificial intelligence. What does that mean? Basically, at a very high level, if you look at it, AI in common terms is I have a certain data available. The data could be, from my experiences by surfing on a web, or my experiences basically by buying certain products. So I have certain data available. How do I use that past data to make certain future presumptions? At a very high level, that is what I would say is that AI for a common man is what it is, basically using data to gather insights. Insights means to gather understanding or the patterns that are available in the data.
Okay. In layman terms, it's like gathering the past data to capture the future insights, to predict the future trends.
Exactly. It has to be past data or determining existing data to sort of predict future trends.
Okay, sir. So, could you shed some light on about how AI came into existence, as about a brief history about the artificial technology?
Exactly. And it's a very, very interesting history about AI if you look about it, right? See, at the bedrock of AI, there are, the way I see it is like a stool with three, actually, what should I say, legs. The first leg is called statistics. The second leg, I would call it, is basically a domain or the business knowledge. And the third one is basically, I would call it the what should I say, the algorithms and the deep learning part. Each one of it, let's take about it. If you look at it, the statistics is not something that is new today. Statistics actually started in the late 18th century. So statistics is something that the world has been known from a very long time. In fact, even before that, even when the cavemen, people were able to write to count, they had their own way of counting, and they used to summarize things and everything. So if you look at it, sort of in the 1800s, people had basically methods to summarize data. What do you mean by summarizing data? If I have, let's say, if I have a number, how can I take the average of the number? Things like that. And so statistics developed that way. Once statistics developed that way, and it has been developing for a long term, statistical methods and everything. It is during the Second World War is when what happened was the Germans had a coder called an Enigma, so which they used to use to code all their messages. So the Britishers could not actually decipher it, and so Alan Turing, who's supposed sort of one of the godfathers, we can say, of computing and everything, actually built a machine to actually decode that. And so until that point, all the cryptographers and everybody were using pencil and pen and paper to actually decrypt all the cryptology, basically the secret messages. That was the first time a machine without any human help, actually very little human help, started decoding things. And that sort of, gave birth to something called artificial intelligence, because the scientists now started thinking, oh my God, a machine can replace a human brain. So that was probably the first time when the word artificial intelligence came into existence. Then what happened, if you take a look at it, for the next 30 years, people started saying, the machine will replace a human mind, a machine will replace a human brain.
Yeah.
But unfortunately, brain is a very complex thing. If you look at our brain, in addition to logical operations that we do, logical meaning in addition, subtraction, thinking, we also have a lot of emotional, anger, all of it, so which was nearly very difficult to emulate or copy. So in the 80s, what people said was, oh, let us not worry about that part of this one, and let me basically worry about the logical part of that. And so they basically started understanding the logical part of it. And that's when, people started, and that's when they said, we have this large amount of data. Is in the 80s and the 90s. Slowly data started beginning. And these were all organized in a very nice way called supervised data. What is supervised data? Supervised data means data that you have in a nice column and rows where everything is nicely arranged. And that is something that gave brief history to something called machine learning. Machine learning is the art of understanding supervised data. Then what happened in the late 2000, that is 2010 and everything, by the time, because of the internet and everything, there was a lot of data that was available that actually was available on text, which is your written text, and images. And people wanted to say, if I have an image, can I detect it to be a human being? Can I detect it to be a cat? Can I detect it to be X-rays? Can I use this to do X-ray detection? There's a lot of text. Can I read text so that I can know what the sentiment of the people? So text, and which was data, because that data was not actually in a nice modular way, because you can write anything in text. And that gave to something called deep learning, which is now what is basically the predominant, which is now today called as artificial intelligence. So I took a little bit of a while, but I gave you the history of how basically it started in the 1800s and what it is today.
Yes, Amalap, the history looks very interesting and sounds, what I can say, the conception about the misconceptions which led to the AI, like it will take over the humans over in a long period of time. I guess that misconceptions, when there was at the early stage, when AI was in its early stage and going in the advancement of this technology, so there were a lot of misconceptions which was raised. So probably one of the misconceptions, as you mentioned, was AI will take over, this technology will take over these humans. I guess it is certainly not. It will certainly not take over the humans, because as you mentioned about the logical part and the emotional connect. So AI lacks about this emotional connect. Maybe in the near future we can have this emotional connect also, but right now only AI focused on the logical part of this technology.
Yes.
So I guess that's a very brief history about the AI, and also you also mentioned about machine learning and deep learning. So that was a great thing, sir. So how right now there is an importance of AI in everyday life? I guess this is. I guess I can say it proudly that everyone in this world must be using an AI device in any form or the other. Maybe we are not aware of it, but we are using it. So can you share some daily examples, real life examples?
Exactly. An excellent question, right? And let me see. Every day, more and more, what we do, from simple things to complicated things, AI is being used here. And let me give you a very few examples where, today, let's say, for example, one of the most common things is, let's say you apply for a loan in a bank loan. Yeah. I don't know how many of you know that or not. A lot of these banks today are using artificial intelligence to decide whether they will apply, whether they will actually give a loan to you or not. Okay. Second example I will talk about, and I will give you a few examples. And second example is, a lot in the medical professional industry. I don't know how many of you know this or not. For example, a lot of these big hospitals in India and abroad, when you get an X-ray, the first reading of an X-ray, you may think that is a human is doing it. Actually, is done by an AI device or an AI algorithm, and then that results go to a doctor. A lot of them, when the doctor sees it, already a AI has done the first analysis, and the doctor are seeing the second, and they do the expert opinion. Similarly, right, all of us, and I don't want to give you, when I say use the word all, because obviously for the students, when we do a Google search, it's completely AI driven. Or when you go to Amazon or things like that, and you buy our products, right, there is some recommendations that has been done for you. All those are heavily, what should I say, AI driven, and they use AI to do that recommendations, everything. So in every day of our life, knowing or unknowing, we are all using AI in one form or the other.
Yes, sir. I guess the pretty examples about the example about the bank, but I was also not sure about it, because when you talk about that, when we're applying for bank and AI devices predicted who is going to be the ideal candidate to receive this loan. So that's a perfect example. Sir, talking about the importance of AI in everyday lives. So can we share? So can we talk about why AI for All initiative, which was launched on 30 July? So could you talk about more about it, the AI for All?
Exactly. See, What is happening is, I gave you the examples, right? Slowly, what is happening, and this is something a very, very, very important thing. The way I look at AI is not artificial intelligence, but assisted intelligence. AI stands for assisted intelligence. There is a difference between artificial intelligence and assisted intelligence. When I
Yeah.
use the word artificial intelligence, it looks like your human intelligence is going to be replaced by some machine. Whereas when I call it assisted intelligence, basically what it means to say, it is assisting somebody, and that somebody could be a human being. So
Yeah.
what is happening, AI for all, it's a very, 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 what should I say, important, or I would say a very nice initiative initiated by both, obviously by Intel, but more than Intel, by the government of India and a lot of companies, including Intel. What they want to make sure is raise the awareness of AI to all. That doesn't mean that all of us should become AI scientists. That doesn't mean that all of us tomorrow should start buying a computer and coding. That is not what AI for all means. AI for all is basically, first of all, raise the awareness of what is the capability of what AI is doing. The reason why they want to do that is because that today in our daily lives, we are using it. And so what is something that tomorrow it is going more and more, it is going to be assisting us. So we need to be aware of what that is doing, assisting us. Second thing is also very important is because that is slowly going to change the way we work, the way we communicate, everything that we do for tomorrow. So that is very, very important that, AI for all is going to be making a deep sense in all of us, irrespective of what your domain is. You could be working in marketing, you could be working as a government employee, you could be working in private sector, you could be working in education. Doesn't make a difference where you are. All of us are going to be touched in this technology. There are very few technologies, if you look at the history of human being, where so much of impact has happened at a global scale. Internet is one of those examples. Or for that matter, if you think about it, right, when transportation was one such where we were all impacted. In the bad sense, unfortunately, pandemic is one of that, right? From an healthcare, where the globe is being impacted. There are certain things where there are certain regions being impacted and everything. But there is an AI is going to be one of those overarching things or overarching umbrella where whether we like it or not, it is going to impact it. And so this AI for all is to bring an awareness of what AI can do and what AI cannot do and what are the challenges and at the same time, what are the dangers of this? And so that is very important. And as we talk about it, I'll give you examples where it has to be, in some sense, regulated. If not, it is going to be a problem.
Yeah, certainly. About the AI ethics part, which you mentioned about the regulation part. So, could you give an insight? I guess if you give a more example or practical illustration, it will help us to understand how
Definitely.
regulation of AI is required.
Excellent question, right? So let us take an autonomous car as an example, right? All of us, know what is an autonomous car. An autonomous car is it's also called a self-driving car. Okay, a self-driving car is a car that drives for itself with the help of AI and other technologies like IoT and everything. Where the human, what should I say, what usefulness is the fully autonomous car, a human is just a passenger, the car drives by itself. There are different levels of autonomous cars. So it's not the ultimate aim is that the human is a passenger. So let's take that example. Tomorrow, let's say the car is driving by itself and gets into an accident. Now, who is responsible for that accident? Let's say you own that car. You will say, I was just a passenger, go sue the manufacturer who did the car. The manufacturer will say, listen, it is not my responsibility. I have sold the car to Ashwin, I have sold the car to Venkatesh, or I have sold the car to whoever it is, right? So it is not my responsibility. So it is a major issue there. Who is going to be held responsible? So that is one example where people are actively working to understand this example. Now let's take that same thing in other examples. Today, what is happening is, let's say, for example, you are a passenger in an, what should I say, in this one. One of the autonomous car, one of the things that today people are saying is, and this is an extreme example, but I'm still giving you that example is, so for example, today you say you cannot drink and drive in a car. And that is illegal and you should not because it's very dangerous. Does it mean that if you're a passenger in an autonomous car, can you drink because the car is driving by itself? Nobody knows the answer to these questions, right? Similarly, let's take the insurance industry. If the autonomous cars become so good that they never get into accidents, what will happen to the insurance industry? Why would anyone insure a car?
Yeah.
So there's a huge business impact to it. Similarly, what is happening in, I'm just taking autonomous car and giving different examples so that you
Yes.
can understand that. So what is happening, even if you take the autonomous car industries, for example, there are new players attending like Google, for example, new players like Amazon. There are new people coming into this autonomous vehicle industry who are not the traditional vehicle manufacturers like Ford or Hyundai or Maruti or whoever, right? Whoever is the thing. So that is changing the complete landscape. Now, if you look at, for example, Uber or Ola or somebody, right? The only human other than the passenger in that entire cycle, if you look at it, you book a car using an app. You say, I don't want a cab. You cancel a cab using an app. You pay
Yeah.
the cab using an app. You basically, the driver knows where to go using that app, Google Maps or whatever he uses. You track the driver and the vehicle and where that person going in the app. The only human is the driver.
Yes, sir.
If now autonomous cars comes and if I remove that, what happens to the driving industry?
We will lose a lot of human drivers.
Exactly, right? There's a human aspect of it which you have to be careful.
Hmm.
Then let us take the last example here and then I will move forward, right? See, let's say, for example, today you're driving a two-wheeler. Okay.
Yeah.
Suddenly a kid comes, two-wheeler or four-wheeler, doesn't make a difference. A kid comes in front of you. What do? You suddenly apply the brakes, or you may try to go to the side to avoid the kid. In that process, let's say, God forbid, you may hit a tree or you may hit another car. But that decision to move to the right, to the left, or apply the brakes was done by you as a human being.
Yes, sir.
Now put the same thing to an autonomous car. Let's say you're a passenger in an autonomous car. Now a kid comes. Now what should the car do? Protect the passenger by not hitting the tree and hit the kid? Or protect the kid and and injure the passenger? These are called in data science moral algorithms.
Yeah. Some critical, yeah.
Basically, these are called moral algorithms. Companies like Facebook, all of them use that on every day for different things. So basically, what I'm trying to get here is AI is not just technology. AI is an encompassment of different, what should I say, aspects of it. There's legal aspects of it. There is business aspects of it. There is, sort of the humanities aspect of it. So all of this is AI. So that is the reason why AI for all means you need to not just understand the technology, but the other aspects of it, which is very, very more important than the technology. Not the technology is not important because the impact is huge to humanity.
Certainly, sir. As you just mentioned that you were by giving different illustration for the self-driving cars or the autonomous cars, you have given us an idea about the business aspects and the legal aspects and the humanities and the social aspects. So probably, I guess it sounds like it opens up a lot of avenues in different sectors of the business, in different sectors of the careers. So, is know-how of the technology has become an essential skill set right now. So, what I can say is knowing AI as a technology is. Do you feel like it's an essential skill set to possess to progress in your career?
Very, very good question and a very important question. In fact, it has become so critical that means to say everybody should know AI. So let me give you an example.
Yeah.
In addition to what should I say, we teaching and everything, personally, our INSOFE and INSOFE School of Data Science, we do a lot of corporate trainings.
Yes,
Things
sir.
like that. So one of the largest companies in India, and I don't want to mention names because it's not fair to mention any names, but so we are doing the training for all their different levels of that. One of the things that they're making sure is from CEO to the fresh joining, irrespective of the branch, everybody the CEO says should know AI. Why? Not because that everybody will become a data scientist tomorrow, but the use cases that what AI can do or cannot do is already always created by the domain people. So let's say you are in a travel desk. If you know what AI can do and what can AI do, then you will say, hey, I have this problem. Can AI help me to solve this problem?
Okay.
Similarly, if let's say you are working in the manufacturing, you may not, but if you don't need to understand AI, how it is done. But if you know this can be done using AI, you will create a use case. So there are thousands of new use cases that can be created if everybody knows AI. Similarly, AI for all is an initiative where it is not just to understand that, but you can also for everybody to sort of say what are the limits and challenges of AI.
Yeah. So certainly, it also enforces us to know about the limits and what AI cannot do. I guess that's also they focuses on, and the misconceptions and the AI rules, ethics, regulations. They also try to focus out from this course. Great, sir. So right now we have learned that as it has become an essential skill set. So what are the scope of AI as a career, sir? If someone, because we have been joined a lot of students from different colleges, different schools, and I guess the age group is between like they have either they are pursuing right now the 11th and 12th, maybe some students are from the in the high school. So they would be thinking of how they can pursue AI as a career, because as you mentioned about different use cases, and also you had given us about the scope. So I guess it certainly looks as a lucrative career in the next decade. So probably what you can touch us on the points like what are the scope of AI as a career for the students?
So basically, two things let me talk about. One is the AI education and then the AI career, because both are very important. One, from an education, let me talk about it first, then I will talk about the career part of it. See, if you look at education, right? If you look at, for example, 5 years back or maybe 8 years back, right? The word data science, the word artificial intelligence and all that, right, was basically being as one of the specialization subjects, mostly at the master's level initially.
Yeah.
Whatever course you take, you do an MSc, MTech, or what MS or whatever, it was like that. Then slowly they brought it down to, what should I say, undergrad level, but still a specialization or an elective and everything. But nowadays it has become so important because, as I told you, because it's becoming so prevalent and it is going to be playing an important part of our life, that it is becoming so prevalent that they are sort of slowly introducing it in high school. Slowly they're introducing it, and especially with the new education policy and everything, if you look at it, and that's a very important thing. There's a lot of elements of that is being introduced to high school students. And what I would say from an education perspective is, nowadays, and I will specifically talk about Vijay Bhumi University at this point, and especially INSOFE School of Data Science, we are actually offering an undergrad program which is called BE in AI. And BE in AI, it's basically earlier it used to be B Tech or BE in computer science, and there should be one or two courses in AI. But AI itself has become so sort of important because there are so much things that you have to learn in data science and AI that we have created an undergrad program itself called BE in AI, which basically not just does the computer science part of it, which we will teach, but we will go deep into what are the things that are necessary for you to become a data scientist or for you to become an AI engineer, which itself, a lot of companies are now looking for people to have that kind of deep knowledge at the undergrad level only. The second thing that they're looking for, and this is very important in your education, is unlike the other older education where it was taught on a theoretical basis, the companies are looking for people to have a practical knowledge of it. What do you mean by practical knowledge? Two aspects of it. One aspect of it is they want people to have actually solved real problems or real world problems in their undergrad level, which means to say, one of the things that we do in Vijay Bhumi University is, for every 1 or 2 hours of teaching, let's say you have 1 hour we do teaching, 1 hour we do labs.
Yeah.
So that way you have 100%, what should I say, practical knowledge about this. The second part that we also do is all our professors, like me, for example, right, has about 25 years, 20 to 20 plus years of industry knowledge or industry experience. So we are all industry practitioners who bring that experience into our teaching. Second thing I told you, we do a lot of consulting. So that consulting to most of the Fortune 500 companies, that we bring it back into our class. So a combination of that is what makes an AI a very tricky. The second part, which I'm very proud to be associated with, what should I say, Vijay Bhumi University, is the liberal professional part. As I gave you an example for autonomous car, like as an AI engineer, you just not need to know the technology piece of it, but you need to understand the legal, the business, because people, industry today are looking for people to provide solutions, not to say I will program because AI is not like Regular software where I say, okay, database, I just provision it, or Java language, I just make a program, and it has impact is very less on the society. Here, the impact is huge on the society. So when you develop these people, or want people to understand that, and the liberal professional education that we teach is not just, we are mandating people to take courses in law, in management and everything, so that you get the 360 degree education.
Yeah.
That is from an education perspective. Now let us talk from a career perspective. In fact, what is happening today is every job that you are requiring, either people are expecting you to have some knowledge of data science or data analytics or AI, or depending on if you want to do becoming an AI specialist, they're expecting so a huge amount of companies are not ready to spend 3 to 4 years for you to train them, and then I basically hire you, train them, and then that era of that thing is gone. People are expecting you to be productive from day one. And hence what you learn in college and the right college is very, very important. And second thing is also the number of jobs that are going to be there. So there are two things that's going to happen, guys, in the next 10 years. A lot of jobs are going to be replaced. Let me be honest with you. A few jobs are going to, but they are going to be creating a lot of new jobs that didn't exist 5 years back. And if you look at the job creation, it's a lot more than the job deletion.
Okay. So if I'm not wrong, sir, as you mentioned, as I came to know that the lot of jobs are going to be obsolete in the next decade, but it is going to be creating a lot of jobs against the jobs which are obsolete. So it is going to open new avenues of opportunities.
And this happens anytime there is a shift in technology. When they were, people were driving horse carts, and when cars came in, right, it happened that shift. When people were, suddenly when the online came in, it happened that shift, right? Nowadays, you do most, let's say at least not all of them, but a lot of them do their online banking, online things, which, you don't need to go to the, so a lot of these things have, are surely shifting from this. Once cell phones came, all these, coin operated phones died, whether we like it or not. So there has always been a shift in technology. It's not like AI is something new so there has always been a shift in technology. The only difference is the impact that AI has been a lot more in different areas compared to all these shifts.
Yes, sir. Certainly. So there is going to be a transition of jobs and transition of careers, and probably in the next 3/4 of time. Yeah. So, sir, you have briefly given us about the path to pursue as in the AI technology as a career, as you talked about the program offered in Vijayabhumi University in association with INSOFE School of Data Science, the Bachelor of Engineering program in AI. So, could you also briefly highlight about some program, because there must be some students who have completed their graduation. Right now, they are seeing AI opportunity. So, what after graduation, if they have done the
Excellent question. So let's assume that you have completed your undergrad in, let's say you have done your BSc or BE or BTech, whatever that name, right? Now you have to basically go for your master's. In fact, we are offering 3 master's programs in Vijayabhumi University for AI. One is called an MSc in AI. The second one is called MSc in Computational Data Science, not AI, but Computational Data Science, and I'll talk about it, what it is. MTech in Computational Data Science, and MBA in Business Analytics. In fact, we are very proud to announce that we are also offering, in fact, also we will from this fall, we will be offering a PhD program.
PhD, great.
PhD program in data science or AI. So let me talk about the master's program. The way we have designed our master's program, and this is very, very important, guys. And I feel this is probably the first in the country, I feel, is basically the way we have designed a master's program is, it is a 100% skill-based master's program. What do you mean by a skill-based master's program? In India, the master's program, any master's program you take is a 2-year program.
Yes,
the way we have designed it, the first year, you will completely do mostly coursework. Again, this coursework will have complete hands-on experience and everything. The second year, you will automatically get a paid internship. We will automatically get a paid internship for whole of 9 months of second year, where you will be paid and you will be made work on actual industry projects.
Okay.
So how many master's program in India actually says in the second year will pay you to study?
I guess no, none of them.
Exactly, right? So either you take an MTech, MSc, or MBA. We will actually put you on actual real life industry projects where we will also pay you, what should I say, stipend for actually working on. So you will actually be not only in the second year, you will be studying, but also you'll be working on in actual industry at apprenticeship, which is a paid apprenticeship, which is a huge benefit for you. So this
Yeah,
master's program is very, very unique in that way.
certainly. I guess you're going to learn while working. So you're
Exactly, right. And if you do well, automatically your job is guaranteed in that organization or in that company that you have been doing the internship. Because what else better way to prove yourself than work 9 months or 11 months in the organization? If they like you, why would they not hire you, right? Because 9 months they've seen you. Instead of you interviewing you for 10 minutes or 1 hour, 9 months they've seen your work. What else do they need?
yeah, certainly. Your chances of hiring gets increases threefold.
Huge, right? In fact, I would think 90% of them automatically get absorbed because what else do they need, right? In 9 months, they've seen how good you are.
Certainly, sir. Sir, you were talking about the difference between the computational data science. So could you just highlight it? Because
Exactly. What is computational data science? See, if you look at it, what was happening? If you look at from the 90s, right? And I'm sure all of you guys are either born in the 90s or maybe even in the 2000s. I don't think even you were born in the 90s, right? Most of you kids, well, I call you kids. I know if most of you can vote, but I still call you kids. Kids in the sense, not your kid, but you know what I mean to say. If you look at the 90s when the first internet or the basically came in, right? Commercial internet was much before 90s. In the 60s itself was there, but it was mostly used for education institutions or defense. 90s were when, and there was something called Netscape, and if you look at it and everything, there's a history of net. The first, what should I say, the screens you had, or you call it, right? Web pages are created basically was something called, you had hyperlinks where you clicked and they went to another web page. I call it Internet of the Pages.
yes, sir.
Then what happened? People realized, wow, this is fantastic. Internet of the Pages, I can connect things using internet. And slowly people started saying, hey, can I connect business and business to business? Or can I connect business to humans to do, what should I say, commercial things like an interactivity between the what should public or the common man and the businesses. And I call it Internet of Business that went into this entire, online, what should I say, business happening. Either it could be banking, it could be, online shopping, whatever, right? That thing came. Then people started realizing I can also connect human to human or person to person. And that gave rise to the social media. I call it Internet of People. So Internet of Pages, Internet of Business, and then Internet of People.
Yeah.
Then the today's jump, which is a major jump that is happening is, people said, I can also connect machines to humans, machines to machines. I can put sensors on the machines. I can put sensors with the human being. So, for example, today you have a watch, let's say a Fitbit or an Apple or something. You run, it will tell you what is your heart rate, what. So basically a machine, and now it sends that machine to some cloud or something, and it do. So all this machine generated data.
Yeah.
Then there's a machine to machine that is being generated. I call it, that is basically Internet of Things. So you had Internet of Pages, you had Internet of Business, you had Internet of what should
People.
I say, people, then Internet of Things. This Internet of Things is today 70% of the data that is being generated. 30% of the data is human generated. So that where you basically ingest that Internet of Things machine generated data, this large scale data, how do you scale it? How do you make sure that you can compute it? That is called computational data science. So it doesn't only involve the traditional AI algorithms, traditional AI, but you also need to understand how do I set up this something, this whole concept of this, not just big data, but this whole concept of how do I make it happen? How do I basically make it happen in a very fast manner? How do I compute such things? What information, how do I get information very fast from this huge data lake, or this huge amount of data? All that in addition to data algorithms, computers, and that is the way people are looking for it, and hence MTech is in computational data science.
So I guess the program, as you mentioned, it looks very interesting, and this field, I personally get a lot of
Huh.
curiosity and interest over this field.
Exactly. And then there is the MBA part. As I
Hmm.
told you, there is MSc, MTech, and MBA. The
Yeah.
MBA is called Business Analytics. This is for people who basically their undergrad is in BCom or BBA, things like that, who wants to pursue an MBA, but also learn the data science piece of it. So this program basically combines the business piece of it and the data science piece of it to give you an MBA, which is called MBA in Business Analytics. So we have two technical degrees, MSc or MTech in computational data science, plus MBA in business analytics.
Great, sir. Great. So I guess that this is a perfect blend of business. From MBA part, they can know the perfect blend of business and the technology aspects of it. So, as we talked about this paths to pursue AI as technology as a career, and you also mentioned, matlab, you have mentioned some great courses which is offered by Vijayabhumi University and INSOFE School of Data Science. I guess that are some pretty good courses that which students can pursue right after the 12th or right after the graduation, maybe master's program. So right now we could know about that. Yeah, AI as a technology as a career looks a booming industry. So also we can talk about something about how AI is making strides in every profession, how AI is making its way in every profession.
Exactly. For you to basically understand how AI is making strides in every profession, you need to understand a couple of things. So, what happened for the sudden boom of AI to happen, and that actually propelled to the next level, right? So, let me basically give you one more small example, and then I will talk about it.
Yes.
If you look at, one, let me call it, if you look at the 2007, if I say the year 2007, what will ring to your mind? Do you anything other than, you may say, hey, some people may say, I had a kid. Some people, some personal milestones maybe. Some people say, I got married, or some people may say, I finished my 10th or whatever. Those are all personal milestones. Fine. Each person will have, maybe may not be true. But I'm talking from from an industry perspective, from a
Smartphones.
global. What happened in? Do you remember anything about 2007?
I guess
If you
smartphones came into existence.
Okay, so you are saying that excellent smartphone came. So obviously, most people will say so. The year 2007 started on January in Marconi Center, as you said, a guy with a turtleneck introducing the first iPhone, and obviously the guy was Steve Jobs.
Yeah.
So that started in 2007. In 2007, there is a one of the most important softwares, which I don't know how many of you heard, but have you heard? But that is basically called Hadoop came into existence. Hadoop is what makes millions of computers talk, and which we call it big data. Basically, Hadoop is what should I say, freeware of what Google file system and basically what Google had created earlier. But basically, this is sort of a freeware of it. Hadoop stands for the creators kids what toy. In 2007, the second most important software that makes the cloud work called VMware came into existence.
Mhm.
In 2007, Google bought a small TV company called YouTube. In
Yes.
2007, Google introduced to the world a second mobile operating system, which is now beyond mobile, called Android.
Yeah.
In 2007, basically, Michael Dell, who resigned his job in 2005, saw these changes and came back to as CEO of Dell in 2007. In 2007, three design students in San Francisco were actually went to a design conference, and they saw all the hotels were booked in San Francisco. They had three extra, what should I say, blow up beds, which they rented it out. And they said, this is a great idea. Why can't I do it in homes? And today we call it as Airbnb.
Airbnb.
In 2007, Watson, which was the IBM Watson, came into existence. In 2007, Facebook, for the first time, opened its doors to anybody with an public IP address. In
Okay.
2007, Twitter was the first thing, came out of its shell and went global. In 2007, Intel, for the first time, Intel used non-silicon materials for its chip manufacturing in order to continue the Moore's law. What is Moore's law? Moore's law says the chip capacity doubles or Intel power doubles every 24 months. Now it is not 24 months, it's about 28, 29 months. But that was the first time it went into existence. In 2007, that was the first time the the sequencing of a human gene, which was $1 million, came down to less than $1,000.
Okay.
In 2007, believe it or not, in India, what happened? Two people in Bangalore said, why can't we open a company where people can shop online? And Flipkart was started.
Yeah.
In 2007, basically a telecom company, which we are very familiar with, called Jio, started. In 2007, Myntra, which is one of the clothes company in India, started. In 2007, so for that matter, if you look at the solar energy, the cost of the solar energy just fell and the boom happened. In US, something called fracking was actually started in 2007, which actually raised the power of the capacity of. So all this, it was like a platform that just zoomed in 2007. But I don't know how much of you know 2008 happened. What is 2008? This 2008 is the way where this entire economic crisis happened. Everybody forgot about 2007. In fact, if you look at the history, I would say 2007 is one of the most important year in the history of technology. If you say so many forces came at the same time to the same place, which brings me back to your question, right? So that basically propelled this huge force that now has people say, you know what, this entire thing that I have, how can I use it in different areas? Today, AI is being used in areas that we can't even imagine. AI has been used in construction. AI is, in fact, people are actually using something called 3D printers, where people are trying to build houses using 3D printers, where you don't use humans, but a printer can actually print your house, reality. It's been used in manufacturing. It's used everywhere that you can think about. Very few areas, guys, I will tell you, where AI is not being used. In fact, if you think about areas, for example, I don't know how many of you go to Yahoo Finance or things like that. If you go to Yahoo Finance, let's say today, for example, right, a company announces its results, quarterly results, and says, you know what, the quarterly results of company ABC, I have this. The next less than a second, that information is up on AI in Yahoo Finance. Actually, no human is writing that article. AI is actually writing that article.
Okay.
So AI is being used in places that we can't even imagine. But if you go to a lot of these websites, it's something called chatbots, ASP. Does it mean that we are going to replace everything by AI? No. So let me tell you this, guys. There is still a lot of human touch that is required for AI, because one of the things that AI cannot do is basically determine, for what I can use AI, for what I can't use AI, because AI can't be used. Second, there are corner cases. AI can never think about corner cases. It is the human has to think about corner cases. So there's a lot of domain expertise is there, which humans have to think. So AI is not something that is going to do everything, but there is a lot of things that AI can do.
Certainly, sir. I guess you have given us a brief about how AI can strive in every sort of profession, and the lot of happenings in 2007. I guess it instincts a curiosity in me to watch out where all the happenings and go through the happenings about it. It sounds like a lot of forces came into place in 2007. So that was a great source of knowledge for all of us. So we have got some questions over on a chat box.
Sure. Let me also take a look at the chat box. Hello, everyone. Thank you for. Can we get the schedule of the course? Definitely, Soumya. We can definitely get you the schedule. Let me do this, right? Ashwin, do you have your email address or something, or somebody else can have the email addresses, right? If you can just send an email to, basically to Ashwin, or if you can, definitely, we will be happy. We will be definitely get the this also, in fact.
Sure, sure. I will share my email address.
Yeah, please. You can be well, and I will send it to him, and he can send it to you, Soumya.
Sure, sir.
I'm assuming it's Soumya, right? Because there is SAM.
Yeah. So I have shared my email address on the chat box.
Definitely, we will get you the schedule. That should not be an issue.
Yeah.
Anything else, guys? Any questions or comments? Am I seeing any other questions?
Yes, sir. So any other question from any of the participants who have joined?
Any questions? It doesn't have to be on, any questions or anything that you want to understand. Please ask, and I'll be happy to, answer from whatever I know. It's not like I know everything, guys. Whatever I know, I will answer.
Yeah. Let's see. So your enthusiasm for AI, I guess that instincts a lot of. Yeah. So we have
What
got into.
programming language children should learn for AI? Excellent question, right? See, what I would say, this is a, see, people always say that, right? What programming languages people should learn? And it's an excellent question. My thought is, guys, see, people say, you know what, nowadays I see, introducing programming at second grade, third grade, fourth grade. You know what? Important. I will tell you what programming language. The most important, guys, you need to learn in high school is get your fundamentals right. Get your math right. Get your science fundamentals right. Very, very important. Because if you have a strong fundamentals, you can learn anything.
Yeah.
Second thing, very important is make sure that you get a wide knowledge, because people obviously say, right, don't worry about your social sciences, don't worry about that. That is not. AI is something where you can impact everything, everybody. So you need to have the 360 education. Having said that, the two most common programming languages that they use in statistics and AI, one is called Python and the other one is called R. Most common they use it. So Python and R is something that, which what we do in Vijayabhumi University is, once you come to our university, right, we do not assume, see, some of them might have learned Python earlier, some of them may not have learned. What we do is the first year, we give you foundation course. We put all of you on the same foundation. So that way, there is no, that, this person might have know something. Everybody, we make sure that we do basic math courses, basic programming courses. We start from the beginning, sort of.
Certainly, sir. Certainly. So I guess, Akshay, you have got your answer clear about what were the programming languages. As the sir mentioned, Python and R would be the primary thing. So any questions from other viewers or comments?
Any other questions, sir? Comment, anything else?
I guess pretty much, sir, we have cleared all the doubts, and I don't see any questions more, sir.
Okay.
So we can close up the session. As I just mentioned, we have talked about the importance of AI for all, and sir has explained us about all the aspects of AI. And I see a lot of openings and a lot of avenue of opportunities which AI as a technology creates for a lot of business opportunities. So we would suggest everyone to go through the course, which is the initiative, the AI for All initiative, started by Intel in association with CBSE and Ministry of Education. So it's basically a self-learning program. So it is designed for all students, with the students, your parents, professionals from any field can take up this course. And it doesn't promise, as sir mentioned, it doesn't promise to make you an AI expert, but it is a first step. Basically, it's a first step to get you an awareness about AI as a technology, and what about the ethics, about the morals, about what AI can't do, what AI can do. It talks about, it's a first step to your know-how, to know how the technology of AI. So basically, it has two models in it. It is AI aware and AI appreciate. So it basically is a course for 4 hours. So it's recommended for everyone to go through the course. So you can visit the course and join up the course, register for course in AI-for all.in. So go check out the course right now and complete your get up the badges. Basically, once you complete of a module, once you complete of a, there are two sections. Once you complete the first section, you will be getting a badge and a participation certificate. So you can collect the badges and collect the certificates once you complete of the course of 4 hours. So pretty much, yeah. As a lot of viewers have asked for the website, I am just making a note of it in the chat section. So it's basically AI-for-all.in. Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir, for joining us. It was great to host you today, and we got a lot of learnings and knowledge about AI as a technology. Viewers who are joining us on social media and on a Zoom platform, they can make a note of it that on every Thursday and every Saturday we come up at 5 p.m. with different sessions and on informative and the topics which require immediate attention of students and educators. So thank you for joining us. See you at next Thursday at 5 p.m.
Thank you, guys. Thank you very much. Thanks a lot. All the best.